Dangerous animals. The film opens somewhere in the Gold Coast. Canadian tourist Greg and his friend Heather arrive at Tucker's experience for a shark diving experience. They meet the boat captain, Tucker, who is set to lead them. Heather gets slightly unnerved when Tucker asks them if they are there alone, but they go along with him anyway. On the ride across the water, Tucker tells Greg and Heather about how he survived a shark attack with the large bite scars on his torso to prove it. They make it to a spot in the ocean where Greg and Heather are put inside a cage and submerged underwater. While Heather is nervous, she ends up finding the experience of seeing the shark swimming around the cage to be beautiful. Tucker brings Greg and Heather out of the cage, and then he proceeds to stab Greg twice in the throat and push him into the water, to Heather's horror. Somewhere nearby, an American surfer named Zephyr is traveling by herself in the area. She meets a real estate agent named Moses, who asks for help with jump-starting his car. She drives Moses to his car and helps give it a boost. They talk about their love for surfing and other parts of their lives. Zephyr and Moses have a one-night stand later on. When Moses goes to make Zephyr breakfast, he finds that she has already left and headed toward the ocean. Just as she is getting her board out, Zephyr realizes she dropped her fin key at Moses's place. She finds Tucker in his truck and asks if he has a spare one. He gives her one, but as her back is turned while she is messaging Moses, Tucker puts a bag over Zephyr's head and abducts her. Moses goes by the spot where Zephyr parked her van. When he tries to call her phone, he hears it ringing nearby. Moses later finds the van being towed and goes to the police when he suspects something happened to Zephyr. Zephyr wakes up chained to a bed in a room where Heather is also being kept prisoner. Zephyr tries to break her cuffs off the bed until she notices that Heather has an underwire in her bikini top. She hides it when Tucker comes in and tries to feed the women, but he eventually finds the underwire, foiling Zephyr's escape plans. That night, the women awaken after Tucker has drugged them. Zephyr is strapped to a chair while Heather is tied to a harness and suspended over the water. Tucker gets his camera out and lowers Heather down into the water as a shark starts circling the spot after luring them with chum. Despite Zephyr's pleas, Heather is killed and devoured. Tucker takes a lock of Heather's hair and puts it in a collection along with other tapes and hair bits from previous victims that he's done this to. Later, Zephyr manages to free herself after breaking off the handle from a waste bucket and stabbing Tucker in the neck with it. She gets his keys and undoes her cuffs before trying to make her way out. He catches up to her and sticks her leg with a tranquilizer. Zephyr manages to throw Tucker's camera into the water, but as she tries to swim to another boat for help, the tranquilizer knocks her out, and Tucker pulls her out of the water. The next day, Tucker returns to the mainland to find a new camera and equipment. Meanwhile, Moses, who has already gotten people to lead a search for Zephyr, finds security footage with Tucker's truck passing Zephyr's van from when she went missing. Moses finds the address to Tucker's experience and makes it to the boat. He finds Zephyr's room and comes close to freeing her, but Tucker returns in time and attacks Moses. He puts up a fight until Moses is knocked out by Tucker's assistant Dave, who has helped get him victims like Greg and Heather. However, when Dave hears Zephyr's screams, Tucker slams an axe into Dave's head. Tucker puts Moses down in the same room as Zephyr. He apologizes for failing to rescue her and asks if anything would have happened between them. Tucker then takes the boat out to a different spot and puts Moses on the harness for him to be shark food. Zephyr instructs Moses to stay absolutely still. Following this advice, the sharks do not harm Moses. Tucker pulls him out of the water and stabs him repeatedly in the abdomen to lure the sharks back, but he has to hide Zephyr and Moses when a lifeguard chopper flies overhead. With the two re-imprisoned, Zephyr tries to break her thumb to escape her cuffs. When this doesn't work, She finally bites her thumb off and gets out. She tries to call for help, but Tucker has already found out and has cut the power. He catches Zephyr and drugs her, putting her on the harness now. He lowers her down as a shark comes near her, but even with the blood from her hand coming out, the shark seems to ignore Zephyr. She pulls herself up the harness using a hook, but Tucker causes her to fall back into the water, though she is free from the harness. Zephyr swims around the boat and makes her way back on while Tucker tries to spot her. She grabs a harpoon gun and fires it at Tucker, impaling him and pushing him into the water, where the great white shark emerges and devours the him. Zephyr gets pulled in by the harpoon string, but she pulls herself out and gets a flare and uses it, alerting the boat. Zephyr goes to get Moses, who appears unconscious from his wounds. She pleads with him to wake up and says that he is what is waiting for her when they get back to shore. Moses wakes up, happy to hear this, and Zephyr smiles and laughs with relief.